Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. From the Channel 9 studio, this is Sports Chat with Mr. 33. I am he, Mr. 33. And what a game we just got off of tonight. And we're gonna start right there. We're gonna start from the uh the ending of the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Chicago Bears. And San Francisco holds on as they have a fourth down defense at the end of the game to win 42-38. Uh, a huge game. Why is it huge? Because it keeps the 49ers relevant and it keeps the Bears relevant only because they already won their division, but they was trying to get to the number one seed. But here we go. So we start off with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams had a very he had an outstanding game per se, going back and forth. This game was, like I said, it's like you was playing football in your backyard or football in the streets if you didn't have a backyard. Games were tied at 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. The only difference is the Bears kicked the field goal, the 49ers scored a touchdown. Very competitive game. But let's go ahead and get these stats out the way. Caleb Williams was 25 of 42 for 321 yards, two touchdowns. DeAndre Swift led the team in rushing with 54 yards on 9 carries, and he had two touchdowns rushing. Luther Burden led the team with catches with 8 receptions for 138 yards and a touchdown. And Colston Loveland had the second touchdown, and he was almost at 100 yards. Um, for the 49ers, you had Brock Purdy, who was 24 of 33, 303 yards, three touchdowns, and an interception. Christian McCaffrey, huge on the evening, 23 carries for 140 yards with a rushing touchdown. Brock Purdy had two rushing touchdowns as well, so he could count for 5 of the 7 touchdowns. Well, he counted for all of them really, but except for McCaffrey's rushing touchdown, so he accounted for 6 of the 7 touchdowns. Well, excuse me, 5 of the 6 touchdowns. Ricky Pearsall led the team with 85 yards, but Jake Tongs led them with 7 receptions and 60 yards, and he had a touchdown. And Juwan Jennings with a touchdown to give the Bears, the 49ers, a 42-38 lead heading into the last minutes. But what a game, y'all. Let me tell y'all, that game was outstanding. You can't that was playoff atmosphere, that was playoff scenario, and they took it all the way, like I said, to the last minute. So, with that loss, I believe the Bears are now 11-5, and the 49ers are 12-4. We'll have the conversation in a few minutes. For those of you coming in, welcome in Sports Chat with Mr. 33. I'm he, Mr. 33. I love dogs. Welcome in. 150 records. Welcome in. Everybody welcome in. So, like I said, trying to describe this game is unbelievable. And you had to watch it in order to see it. If you seen it, you probably wouldn't have believed it. That's how outstanding this game was. What a game tonight. Um, so we'll go over some stats. We'll go over some games of relevancy. So we're going to start off in Cleveland. We'll go to Cleveland real quick, right? In the early afternoon game, you had the Cleveland Browns versus hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers, and in a very defensive game, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers 13-6. We'll go over the stats first. We'll start with the visitors, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers was 21 of 39, 168 yards, no touchdowns, no pick. Matter of fact, they didn't even score a touchdown. So uh, Jalen Warren had 64 rushing yards on 12 carries. Uh, and the receiving was Pat Fryermuth. Fryermuth with 63 yards, but he led the receiving yards. But Jonnu Smith had 5 catches for only 18 yards. For the Cleveland Browns, you had Shador Sanders, 17 of 23, 186 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Uh, Dylan Sampson was 27 rushing yards on 11 carries. Uh, and Jerry Jeudy led the team with 5 receptions for 54 yards. But Harold Fanning possesses the only touchdown in the game. Um, you know, we knew going into this game that DK Metcalf was suspended the 2 games for the incident that happened in Detroit. So we are not surprised that the receiving core was down, but just to go a whole fourth quarter, a whole game without a touchdown, that's it. I know many are going to say it's because DK wasn't there, but I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers. You got to get it done. Now, what does this mean? With this loss, you have made it a round robin game against your arch rival, the Baltimore Ravens, Week 18, and that will be the last game of the weekend, next weekend or next Sunday at 8 o'clock. That'll be the National League. That's going to be Sunday Night Football because you guys couldn't get it done against the. Don't get me wrong. You got Myles Garrett on the field. You got some pretty good defense on Cleveland Browns. But you must do something to get your team on that scoreboard. 2 field goals is not going to cut it. And now, like I said, we head to next Sunday. Will Lamar Jackson be back? We don't know. We know he was out, and Huntley did a good enough job to get them the victory with Derrick Henry, and now they'll be heading to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers in a round robin game. It's all or nothing, and all because these guys could not win the game against the Cleveland Browns. Good win, big win for the Browns. Does it give Shador Sanders a does it give him energy? Does it give him, you know, he's 2-3 as far as starting the season? Does it give him the ammunition to gain confidence? Who knows? Realize what's going on. But at the end of the day, bad loss by Pittsburgh. They got to go to. They got to host these guys for all of the marbles. Also, elsewhere in the the AF the NFC South, we're gonna go to Charlotte. Right? We go to Charlotte because coming into the game, the Carolina Panthers were 8-7 and had a 1 game lead on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they hosted the hot Seattle Seahawks, and Seattle does win the game 27-10. So we're gonna hit the stats real quick. Sam Darnold was only 18 to 27 for 147 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Zach Charbonnet had a huge game, 18 carries for 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker had 51 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba doing things that he do. 9 receptions for 72 yards, no touchdowns. AJ Barner caught the receiving touchdown over here. And the defense came up huge for the Panthers. Bryce Young was 14 of 24, only 54 yards with 1 interception. That can't be done, right? Rico Dowdle, who goes over 1,000 yards for the season, was only at 59 yards on 12 carries. And Chuba Hubbard looks like he led the team along with Xavier Legette. with 3 catches. Uh, but Jalen Coker led the team with 16 yards. Right. With this win, the the Seahawks get to 13 wins. They're a game behind the 49ers. And next week, the 49ers play the Seahawks. That's going to be another all or nothing game in the NFC West. But it also, because the uh, the Carolina Panthers lost the game today, will they still be in first place? The answer will be yes, because I don't know what's going on with the Buccaneers, but they are losing in a way that's undescribable. They went to Miami and lost 20-17, uh, 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 making them 7-9. So, but let's just go over the stats real quick. Baker Mayfield threw the ball 44 times. He was 33 of 44, 346 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Bucky Irving led the team with 19 rushing yards on 9 carries. Jalen McMillan led the team with receptions, receiving yards, 114. Him and Chris Godwin both caught the ball 7 times, but Chris Godwin got a touchdown. Mike Evans got a touchdown, but it was not enough as the Dolphins get a win, starting Quinn Ewers, who was taking the place of the I want to say bench, but he replaced two in his first NFL start. He goes 14 of 22, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns. Devon Chan was his key backup with 83 rushing yards on 18 carries, and leading the team with catches was Greg Dulcich with 55 catches, but Theo Weiss had a 63-yard touchdown pass as well. So with the win, the Dolphins go to 7-9, but the loss puts uh, the Buccaneers at 7-9, and they will face, you guessed it, the Carolina Panthers in Week 18 for the winning. The winner goes to the end up to the playoffs and win the NFC South. The loser will be going home. That is the same case in in Pittsburgh next week with the Steelers and Ravens as well. So as you already seen, we had 3 games that already is about uh division playoffs, division wins, and things of that nature. Uh, and we'll go to another one. We'll go to Jacks. We'll go to Indy, where the Jacksonville Jaguars play the Colts, and the Jaguars do get the victory, 23-17 over the Indianapolis Colts to go to 12-4. Trevor Lawrence was 23 of 37, 263 yards, an interception. Travis Etienne had 76 rushing yards on 17 carries. Uh, Trevor Lawrence has 2 rushing touchdowns, though, and was the second leading rusher. And Parker Washington led the receiving corps with 8 catches for 115 yards. And, well, nobody caught a touchdown pass, but the Colts and Phillip Rivers, he gave it a, a valiant try. He was 17 of 34, 147 yards. Uh, Jonathan Taylor had 70 yards on 21 carries. And Tyler Warren led the receiving corps with 43 receiving yards on 5 catches. But Mo Alley Cox caught a touchdown pass for the Indianapolis Colts as Jonathan Taylor ran it in. This game went down to the wire. They had to take Phillip Rivers out and put the backup Riley in to throw a Hail Mary. The Hail Mary was intercepted, and that gave the Jaguars the victory. So as we look, we see the Jaguars are 12-4, and the Texans are 11-5. So the Colts must win in order to they must beat the Titans next week in order to win the AFC South. We do know that the Texans are already in. Uh, so this is more of just the division and seeding for the Jaguars and the Texans. We'll get to the playoff pictures in a few seconds. Uh, but we'll go over some more scores in a minute. But I just want to pull this up real quick, uh, so I can better prepare you for it. But matter of fact, give me 1 second. I don't want to do that. All right, I'm here. So we're just gonna go ahead and do the rest of the scores for the rest of the night. In Tennessee, we got the Saints 34, the Titans 26. The Saints with the victory go to 6-10. The Titans go to 3-13. We did the Seattle Tampa game 27-10. Seattle. The Bengals. Oh, excuse me. Go over to the Patriots. The Patriots annihilated the New York Jets. Sad for me to say, 42-10. The Patriots are 13-3, and the Jets are the opposite, 3-13. In Cincinnati, the Bengals 37, Cardinals 14. The Cards are 3-13. The Bengals are 6-10. We spoke about Pittsburgh losing to Cleveland, dropping them to 9-7. The Browns 4-12, and the Jaguars 23-17 win over the Colts. The Jaguars are 12-4. The Colts are 8-8. In in Las Vegas, the 2-13 Giants face the 2-13 Raiders. The Giants get the victory, 34-10. I don't know why they did that, but the Giants go to 3-13. The Raiders go to 2-14. We spoke about the Tampa Bay losing to the Dolphins, and they're both being 7-9. And one more score that we didn't speak about: the Philadelphia Eagles defeat the Buffalo Bills 13-12, and in that game, uh, Josh Allen got the tying touchdown. They went for two. He missed a wide open receiver with 5 seconds to go to get the 2-point conversion, and therefore losing the game. But here's the deal, though. And we just spoke about the Bears and the 49ers. So let's go ahead and look at the playoffs. Let's look at what's going on over here, right? So we still got the Broncos at the number one seed in the AFC. The Patriots are right behind them. The Jags are right behind them at the 3 seed. You got the Texans at the 5 seed. With their win over the Chargers, they jumped the Chargers to get to the 5 seed. The Chargers dropped down to 6, and Buffalo dropped down to the 7 seed. So we don't have we got to wait till next week to get all of the stats and score, not the stats, but the positioning, right? Well, no, I can't. You can't even say like the Seahawks. They're in the 1 seed, right? They're the 1 seed at 13-3. They got their victory today. Um, Chicago with the loss, they can't become the number 1 seed. Nobody could catch the Bears except for the 49ers, who they play, or the Rams, who they we'll find out tomorrow because the Rams play tomorrow against the Atlanta Falcons on Monday Night Football. If the Rams win, then they'll probably jump the 49ers. But it looks like from what we and the Packers are the 7th seed. It looks like through the stats that only a NFC West team will be the number 1 seed in the NFC. But next week is all about positioning who gets where and what. Congratulations to the New England Patriots because their win and the Buffalo Bills loss means that the New England Patriots is the AFC East division champions. So congratulations to them. Like I said, we still got the AFC South and the AFC North to come to conclusions. Week 18. Um, let's see if they got the stats for it. Let's see if they got uh the schedule for next week. The next, I don't think there's a Thursday night game. I think it's all going to be Sundays conclusions. Uh, let me get to week 18. Oh, we got 2 Saturday games. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. And as you can see, the 2 Saturday games will be for the division, right? As the Carolina Panthers will be heading down to Tampa to play the Buccaneers. The winners in, the losers is going home. That's as plain and simple as you can make it. That'll be Saturday's game at 4:30 on ABC or ESPN, and the Saturday night game will be another one. 13-3 Seattle. Can they hold off the San Francisco 49ers? Because if the 49ers win, they may very well be the 1 seed. They will be the 1 seed. And if Seattle wins, they'll be the 1 seed. And like I said, all of this is for positioning. So that's Saturday's game. Here goes Sunday's games. We're going to go through them all, but I'm going to tell you the importance. Uh, Packers and Vikings. That's one game. The Jaguars versus the Titans. The Jaguars got to win. And as you see underneath them, the Texans versus the Colts. If the Jaguars lose and the Texans win, the Texans can win the AFC South. Lions and Bears. It's just another game. Cowboys at the Giants. Saints at the Falcons. The Chiefs and the Raiders. The Chargers and Broncos. That's a no meaning game as the Broncos have already clinched the AFC West. Patriots and Dolphins, or Dolphins versus Patriots. The Patriots need to win and hope that the Broncos lose to the Chargers in order to get the number 1 spot. Uh, wait a minute, how they both? I'm confused. Now y'all see the same thing I see. I didn't do this. Well, I'll probably go over this tomorrow then because this is not making any sense. How could the Panthers play the Bucks on Saturday and Sunday, right? So I'll probably go over this when it's official. But that is a game. The Rams versus the Cardinals. We still waiting to see if the Rams win tomorrow. If they win, that game could be vital, right? Because they still have a shot to win the NFC West and the number 1 seed as well. Eagles and Commanders. Oh, I mean that. Excuse me, y'all. I hit the button by accident. Now I gotta go through the whole thing all over again. Not really. Let me just get back to it. I said Eagles and Commanders, the Jets and Bills, and the Sunday night game, as I just mentioned, will be the Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's that's what we have scheduled in the NFL. And like I said, it's a round robin game. It's all or nothing for a lot of these games. And like I said, the positioning that we was just talking about is all on the list, and it's all going to be solved by 11 o'clock next Sunday. We will be on next Sunday right after that game to give, I'll put it all into perspective and put the pieces in place. They may have, I may be a little bit late because after that, I'm pretty sure they're going to mention the wild card weekend, which will be January 11th. and the 12th. So I may push the start time back to about 11:45, just because I want everything to be in a proper perspective, so I can give you all the information as as it comes to be without scrambling like the confusion I just had. Oh, see, week 18. So every game is going to be Sunday. Every game is Sunday. No, because it's still, see what I mean? It still said January 3rd. So that's why I need to do everything in the proper perspective. So now that we've spoken about football, let's go to some NBA scores. In the NBA, we got a few games. We got a few games today. We start in Toronto, where the Raptors hosted the Warriors, and the Warriors lose to Toronto 141 to 127. The Warriors go to 16 and 16. The Raptors go to 19 and 14. In Oklahoma City, the Thunder host the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Thunder find their way back on the winning side, 129 to 104. Um, and look at the Wizards in Washington. The Grizzlies go to play the Wizards, and the Wizards get the win, 116 to 112. In in Portland, the Celtics go to Portland to play the Trailblazers, and the Trailblazers get the win, 114 to 108. The Blazers go to 13 and 19 with the win. The Celtics to 19 and 12. Uh, in Los Angeles, the Lakers host the Sacramento Kings. The Lakers get the victory, 125 to 101. The Lakers with the win go to 19 and 10. And with the loss, the Sacramento Kings goes to 8-23. And finally, in in Los Angeles again, but in Clipper Town, the Clippers host the Pistons. The Pistons lose 112 to 99. The Clippers go to 10 and 21. And the Pistons go to 24 and 8. So let's just look at the standings then. Let's go straight to the standings. Okay. So the standings got the Pistons being 24 and 8. The Knicks is second with 22 and 9. Celtics are 19 and 12. Three seed Raptors are 4, 19 and 14. Orlando's 5. Philly 6. Miami 7. Cleveland's 8. Bulls are 9th. The Hawks are 10. Followed by the Bucks, Hornets, Wizards, Pacers. I don't know. Every time I see this, they don't do have the Nets. In the Western Conference, the Thunder is in first place, followed by the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Rockets, T Wolves, the Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warrior, Portland Trailblazers, Utah Jazz, Dallas Mavericks, Clippers, Kings, Pelicans. There's a team missing. Oh, the San Antonio Spurs is the number 2 seed. That's who we don't see up here. We don't see them in the Western Conference, and we don't see the Brooklyn Nets in the other conference. So those are the games. Those are the scores and schedules. Standings as we head into another week. I will post this. I will post the actual standings on the community post by tomorrow morning, so you can see what the official records are going in. These are the games tomorrow. For those of you that's interested, uh, the Knicks will be heading down to New Orleans to play the Pelicans at 8. T Wolves go to Chicago to play the Bulls. The Spurs will be hosting the Cavaliers. I believe that game is on national television / Peacock. Uh, the Hawks go to Oklahoma City to play the Thunder. The Magic goes to Toronto to play the Raptors. The Pacers play the Rockets in Houston. Why they do the schedule like this? Uh, Nuggets head east to play Miami. Golden State goes to Brooklyn to play the Nets. The Bucks go to Charlotte to play the Hornets, and the Suns host the Wizards. And the final game, the 10:30, the other the other game that'll be on national television slash Peacock will be the Dallas Mavericks versus the Portland Trailblazers. So those, like I said, those are all the schedule tomorrow as far as the score and the highlights as well. Um, what else we got to talk about? We spoke about football. We spoke about basketball. Now we'll talk about now tomorrow also we come on air and we go over the highlights of WWE Raw so far as I can tell it. We got we got the Usos going to be facing the Dragon Lee and oh god, what's his name? AJ Styles for the belt. We got the women's triple threat match tomorrow uh, for the championship. Let me just make sure I'm saying this right. Make sure I'm saying this right. Raw preview. Make sure I'm giving y'all the exact scenario that's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow's what, 29th? 12. So we got, like I said, we got the Usos facing AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. We got a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship. Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella, Raquel Rodriguez. Austin Theory versus Rey Mysterio. Um, and they're going to have a bunch of promos. More than likely, the world champ, CM Punk, the Vision probably will start the show. Um, so these are things that we need to watch going forward. Like I said, for those of you that don't know, they had a they had the U.S. Championship belt change hands from Dragunov to Carmelo Hayes, and now we may see some changing of the belts. Now tomorrow is supposed to be live action as they are coming off of their Christmas break, and they have uh, pre pre pre-tape those other last week's events. So tomorrow's supposed to be live in full effect. So you want to watch that, you go to Netflix, catch it, and we'll go from there. Will the Usos win the belt? I don't. We don't know. I don't know. It's possible, right? Will Stephanie Vaquer lose to one of those young ladies? It's possible. Will there be some interference? I'm expecting it, right? But that's why we watch the shows. We watch the shows because we don't know. Sometimes we'll be right. Sometimes we'll be wrong. So you guys stay tuned. Like I said, we'll go over that. We'll go over the Rams and the Falcon game as well. And then like I said, I can have everything in perspective as far as the the wild card race. Did anybody win the division? Right? Because as we already know, there's only two teams that could possibly get in that's not in position right now. That will be the Baltimore Ravens because they could win the NFC, the AFC North, and the NFC South. The Bucks can still find their way into the playoffs with a win over the Carolina Panthers. So those are the things that we have to look forward to next week. Um, it was a pretty open and shut Sunday, but like I said, that 49er Bears game, if you watched it, it was one for the records. Um, you hope you could see next Sunday game be like that for all the marbles. Like I said, um, Ravens, Steelers, rivalry. One gets to knock another team out of the playoffs. I don't think they'll have it any other way. So I think it will be much TV. How much of this, but I'm gonna tell you this: a lot of weight is going to fall on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders because Aaron Rodgers was there to put them in playoff position to get into playoffs and to possibly make a run. Now I know many people say he's 47 years old. That's improbable or impossible or however you view it. But the Pittsburgh Steelers brought into it. They gave him a contract. He was the free agent. He signed to Pittsburgh. They was looking good just a couple weeks ago. And so who knows, right? But that game is going to be important as far as um, the Buccaneers and the Panthers. The Buccaneers has lost, I believe, seven straight. They've lost seven straight. They've been losing. I don't think they won since Halloween. I believe was it Halloween that last weekend in October. I don't think they won a game since. So they have to push all of that negativity to the side and find a way to gain a victory to get into the playoffs. If not, the Panthers will be in the playoffs for the first time in a few years, and that will be big news for Carolina. It will be a big uh, boost to Bryce Young, and as we see, all of those quarterbacks of the past few years: Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams. These guys is making themselves look prominent as being high draft picks, right? C.J. Stroud was the number one, was the top draft pick. Caleb Williams was the number one draft pick, and we know C.J. Bryce Young was a high pick, and they're looking like they are doing some things to where they're making those teams, the uh, Panthers and Bears, and the Texans look like they hit the gold mine. They hit the jackpot because now these teams are relevant in this season as far as going to the playoffs. Well, two of the three anyway, because Bryce Young still got to win. Can he be able to outdo um, Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield has won the division the past few years. The Bucks have been in the playoffs this entire decade, even winning one, but that was with Tom Brady. But ever since Tom Brady left, Baker Mayfield has kept them relevant and in playoff pushes and playoff games. Will next Sunday be it? Will he continue to do so? Will he break the funk of their losing streak, or will Bryce Young be able to get them the victory and shut the Bucks up out of there? These are the questions that we look forward to. But that's next Sunday. Like I said, this week there will be no Thursday night game, as this is the final week. They normally don't put a Thursday night game on. This will all be, from my understanding, all Sunday games. All of these should be Sunday games. But like I said, I'll be back on tomorrow to give you the official rundown of what's going on as far as what game is being played, what game will be televised, so on and so forth. Because they're gonna want these high value games to be seen. They want you to see who's gonna clinch the AFC South, the NFC North. They want you to see that. They want you to see, will the 49ers get the win over the Seahawks, or will the Seahawks get the victory over them? Right? And then you got the Rams just sitting in the background waiting to see who does what. Because if they tie and the Rams win, who knows? The Rams might be the number one seed. All of these games are going to be important. And like I said, we will be here. I will be updating you throughout the week. Whether it's me talking tomorrow or Friday or posting some news and information, it will be given to you as far as the NFL. Basketball is getting in their stride, but right now it's playoff time. So that will be one of the integral points. We will transition into basketball. I have done a couple of games over the past couple of weeks as far as broadcasting and doing things like that. So that way you can see who's doing what, especially out west, because I know a lot of people ain't really out there in the west. So I've done a couple games for the Western Conference, so you can understand what's going on. Like the Oklahoma City Thunder and this new quote unquote rivalry with the San Antonio Spurs, as Victor Wembanyama and his guys are making a challenge to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They already beaten them 3 times this year. We're gonna watch that carefully as the season go along, right? Can they dethrone the Thunder? Can they put pressure on the Thunder? We don't know, but there's some other good teams out there. You still got the Nuggets. You still got uh, 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 the Rockets, who's still getting acquainted with Kevin Durant on the team now. You know, some people want to count the Lakers out. You know, with LeBron and Luca, but like I said, it's a tough thing out in the West. The East is wide open, but the West is starting to develop some new young teams and not rivalries, but competitors and competitive games out in the West. And we'll be bringing that to you as well. But with that being said, like I said, we'll be back on tomorrow. All the scores and information is brought to you by the 9%, where better you is a better us. Um, and that's all I have for you guys tonight. Uh, with that being said, we'll be back tomorrow night in the next 23 hours. So from the Channel 9 studio, this is Sports Chat with Mr. 33. Signing off. I'm Mr. 33. I will see you guys in 23 hours.